In this video, let us understand the concept of congruent triangles. So we can call two triangles congruent to each other in the below four cases. Now let's understand what those four cases are. So the criteria is side, 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 and it's popularly known as SSS, ASA, angle, side angle, SAS, side angle, side, and the most important one is RHS, right angle, hypotenuse, side. Now let's understand each one in detail. So the first one is SSS. So if you notice here, it means that this criteria involves three sides. So the definition of this type of congruency is that when in two triangles, when all the three sides are equal, for example, if we consider triangle A and triangle B, we find that in both the triangles, there is a side with length 3, there is a side with length 5, and there is a side with length 7. So in this case, we can call triangle A and triangle B to be congruent to each other. So this is the symbol to mark both triangles as congruent. Let's see the second case. So here we see that there should be a side between two angles which is equal in both the triangles. Let's understand this further. So let's consider triangle A and B. So here if you see that the side with length 5 is between angle 50 and 70 in both the triangles. So between 50 and 70 we find a side with length 5. So this means that according to criteria number 2, which is ASA criteria, triangle A and triangle B are congruent. Now let's understand the third criteria, which is side angle side. So if you notice here, an angle between two sides should be equal. So that means let's compare it in the below two triangles. There are two sides, one with length 5 and 6, and the angle formed between them is 65 degrees. So if the same scenario occurs in the next triangle, which is triangle B, then we can call triangle A and triangle B to be congruent to each other. So here you see that 6 and 5, these two sides form an angle of 65 degrees. Now the last criteria is RHS, which is right angle, hypotenuse, side. So here the congruency is defined between two right angled triangles, which means that one of the angles is 90 degrees. The hypotenuse should be equal and one of the sides should be equal in both the triangles. So let's compare triangle A and triangle B. So here we have 90 degrees in both A and B, and the hypotenuse is equal. Let's mark it as 5, and one of the sides is equal. Let's mark this as 3 and 3. So this double line also indicates that it's one of the sides which is equal in both the triangles. So now this satisfies the RHS criteria, and we can call triangle A and triangle B to be congruent to each other. So I would call this a most important one in trigonometry, because we mostly deal with right angles throughout the learning of the trigonometric functions.